Hey guys, and welcome back to Starcastic Remarks. Alongside Chris, my name is Ryan. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast at THPN. Go and use that promo code THPN next time you go and use DraftKings Sportsbook. Thank you to them for being our sponsor, as always, like they have been for the past 3.5 years. Chris, how you doing this evening?
Pretty good. It was a fun hockey game to watch. We didn't come out on the right end, but it was a good game, I thought.
A little bit of disappointment here tonight from the Dallas Stars. They do lose by a final score of 3-2 in overtime to the New York Islanders and their brand new head coach, Patrick Waugh. Very surprising news, which we will talk about a little later in today's episode. But what's your initial thoughts coming out of this game here tonight, Chris? Because one of the questions before we jumped on here that they were asking on the Bally Sports broadcast that Brian was, it's like, is this a game? Is this a point lost, a point earned? I mean, how are you kind of looking at this game right now?
Yeah, I'm thinking of it more of like a point earned. I mean, we played last night. It's not a big travel day, but still, we had a 1 goal lead going into the third period in our sixth period in 24 hours. That's going to be rough. It's going to be hard to hang on to that, and you kind of felt even before the period started, you're not going to win the game 2-1. That was kind of a given, I figured. And it was just a storybook written for the Islanders to win this game with the first game of Patrick Waugh's coaching. So it was the story was written against us. We got a point still. 3 points in 2 days is not bad. We'll take it.
It really depends on how you look at this game, in my opinion. Like for me, it's a point lost a little bit because of, and they talked about it during the broadcast, how much they put into this game. They played well. I mean,
Yep.
I know they were tired, but for a majority of the game, they really didn't look like it. They played very, very well for a team that was on a second night of a back-to-back. And I don't know. You want to ruin the first game for Patrick Waugh, especially because we don't like Patrick Waugh because of what he did to the Stars in the 90s and the 2000s as a member of the Avalanche. But regardless, you kind of want to ruin his coaching debut as the coach of the Islanders. And then plus they played excellent tonight for the most part. The second half of the first period was the only part where they didn't play very well. Like the rest of the game, really, really good.
Yeah, I'll say Sorokin made a huge difference in this game. He was insane, made some huge stops for them. Yeah, good timing there. Good comment. Um, and then the Stars defense did let a lot of stuff go in the slot tonight, which is kind of Wedgwood's kryptonite as well. And he played outstanding as well. I mean, him and Sorokin, this could have been a 5-5 game, really. But both goalies played fantastic. The Stars let too much stuff go in the middle of the ice. So if you look at expected goals, the shots were crazy different. Stars had the shot advantage by a mile, but the quality chances, the Islanders had a ton of good chances right in front of the crease, right around the net, and the Stars didn't seal it off as good as they did last night. Last night they were exceptional at it. Tonight, much worse. They had to let go a lot of chances, and Wedgie had to make some huge saves.
That was the weird thing about this game. This game was really weird to me. Not weird in a sense that it wasn't a fun game to watch, but like the Stars were dominant in the first 10 minutes of the first period, got no goals. And then in the second half, and like the Islanders just happened to score a goal while the Stars were being dominant pretty much. And then like after that goal, the Islanders were dominant and Nils Lundkvist stood on his head. Or excuse me, Ilya Sorokin stood on his head. Sorry, I saw the Nils Lundkvist comment over here. But and then like some of the goals that went in, like no offense to Nils Lundkvist, but that goal shouldn't have gone in. Wedgwood on the first goal that probably shouldn't have gone in either. He didn't quite know where his post was. So despite the goalies being really, really, really good, especially on rush chances, especially, they let in a couple of soft ones.
Yep.
And then on top of that, this was a game that I thought the Stars were the better team. I thought they were the better team. They played better. They had some really good chances over the course of a period of time. Like the only time they played bad was that 10 minutes in the first period. That was it.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to be mad because it's the second night of a back-to-back, but it's also frustrating a little bit to be like, you put this much into this game and you only get the 1 point out of it. So I don't
think
know.
Stars did control the majority of the game, but they let too many grade A chances go by. So there was less chances that the Islanders got for sure, but they were better chances too. Is what I think the bigger problem was tonight, and that's why you look at advanced analytics. And it says this game is pretty much dead even heat. The shots on goal says that the Stars dominated. That's why I think the Stars got a lot of good chances up top, and they took advantage. That's how the Islanders play. The Islanders are very much keep the center clear, and the Stars played good, getting to the point, playing our tips. That's kind of how the Nils Lundqvist goal goes in. Good, it's a good screen. I agree, it probably shouldn't have gone in. Probably poor positioning more than anything, but it was a screen shot. Got it, found its way through. But I think both teams played good, and we were on the second night of back-to-back, and that's what it kind of came down to.
So lots of things we.
One more thing on the game. Sorry, Ryan.
Go ahead.
Horrible
That's
timing.
okay.
The other one is I think the Stars didn't take as much advantage when they were playing good this game as well. Partially due to Sorokin, but also just poor execution. Like you said, that first half of the first period, you can't come out of that down 1-0. I mean, you got to score a goal. You got to score a goal at that point. And then in the second period, that was the Stars' best period by a mile. We were absolutely dominating that period, 100%. Not even with, I think maybe the Islanders had one good chance in the slot that period. But the Stars need to score more than 2 goals there. I mean, honestly, the way that period went, the Stars were dominating. You got to bury the game there, not just squeak out the lead. You got to get ahead by a couple, give yourself some insurance when you know you're going to be tired in that third period. So that's kind of what it came down to for me.
See, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about first off, and you sort of kind of hit on that a little bit, is just, and it was for both sides, really, Chris, just the missed opportunities for both sides. It's just that Sorokin made that one extra save that Wedgwood couldn't. And that was honestly the difference, because, I mean, when
a great play by Barzal. Oh, my goodness. The defensive play and then the pass, that's disgusting.
Yep. And there were on both sides, like there were probably about 3 open net chances that the Islanders had that probably should have gone in, and it could have easily been 4-0 at the end of the first period. On the flip side, the Stars had lots of chances for themselves. Johnston, man, the guy is just everywhere, it seems like, offensively. I mean, Ben hits the crossbar tonight. Matt Duchene, 15 seconds into the game, hits the post.
Duchene had a wide open net in the second period at the end there to go up 3-1 too. I mean, yeah, lots of missed opportunities all around. And
so that's why another reason why this game was kind of weird to me, that those chances didn't go in for either one of those teams. But the thing that kind of frustrates me a little bit more than the others is the fact that the Stars did not get anything from their power play tonight. The power play did them no favors.
Yep.
And we complain all the time about the fact, oh, well, the refs are not giving us any power plays, and, you know, the other team gets more. New York didn't even have a power play at all tonight, and we had 3. And we had our chances. We had some chances, but they were nowhere near as dangerous as some of our 5-on-5 chances were. So I guess that can kind of go hand in hand with chances lost tonight.
Yep.
But, like, what's your thoughts on the power play?
Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't exceptional. It didn't even really shift play tonight, I feel like. Like, our 5-on-5 chances, and when we got going 5-on-5, had much more of an impact on the game than the power play did. So I agree it wasn't good enough tonight. And when you're got a 3-0 lead on the power play chances, you got to find a way to execute there whenever you're one of the better special teams in the league.
I thought it was kind of funny how it looked like Robertson was going to take a penalty, and his body language completely said that he was guilty. And like everyone's like looking around, like looking at the ref, waiting for him to like raise his hand, and he doesn't. And everyone's like, "Oh, okay, I guess we're gonna keep going."
Yeah, and then the no offsides call. Everyone was like, "Is that offsides?" And they were like, "No." Oh, sure, okay,
yeah, sure, playing, okay, I guess. Fine, whatever. Well, and the other thing is, let's not go goalie bowling on Scott Wedgwood.
Our own
please.
guy, we love him, yeah. Scott Wedgwood. That's our defenseman's favorite thing to do.
Well, and not just that, but that's how Miro Heiskanen got hurt too. Yeah. But like, let's not do that, okay? Because as much as we like give some of our defensemen crap, like Suter and Yanni and some of these other guys, they get a lot of heat from Stars fans. we would much rather have them in than some of the guys down in the AHL. So let's not do that anymore, please. No more goalie bowling. Okay, we talked about the chances lost. We talked about the power play. I do want to mention Wedgwood here real quick too. So that was a big storyline that we didn't even know was going to be a storyline, and the fact that you just assumed Otter was going to be in the net tonight because Wedgwood played last night. But obviously, Otter is fighting something. I'm assuming it's a sickness, because if it was more than a sickness, they would have called up Matt Murray from the AHL. So I don't think there's anything to worry about that factor. But I honestly thought, despite him not understanding and not knowing he was going to play the game tonight, I thought he played really, really well. And like I said, he stood in that first period seriously for the Stars. And it, like I said earlier, easily could have been 4-0 if it wasn't for Wedgwood.
Yeah, Wedgie played fantastic. I did actually just look that it is confirmed Otter had flu, so that's why he was out tonight. Also, Smith got injured in this game. He played about 3 minutes, went out in the first. There's no update on him as of yet. I don't see anything at all on Smith. I just see no update. So I guess we'll figure out what happened to him tomorrow.
I'm really hoping that everything's okay with Craig Smith, because he's been really, really good for the Stars this year. Not necessarily on the offensive side as much, but for a fourth line guy, he does exactly what you want him to do. And with him and with Steele and with Fox, those three guys have had some chemistry as a fourth line this season. So
yeah, talking about Steele, him and Pabs and Ben looked fantastic on that line. That was probably the most dangerous line all night long for us, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. There were some really good chances by that line, and I went after Sam Steele, especially in that Philadelphia game. But tonight he was really good. He was a lot better. He played really good last night. I know I didn't get to do the episode last night, but I mean he was probably the reason why Nils Lundkvist even got the goal. He out hustled the D man down there in the corner, and I know it seems as simple a play for him to just go down into the corner and win the puck. But, if he doesn't win that battle, Nils Lundkvist doesn't even get the shot off. And the goal that probably shouldn't have gone in, it goes in. Yep. So, I mean, you never know.
And that little extra bit of speed and tenacity on the puck that Steele has when he's paired with kind of the bigger, slower guys like Ben and Pavelski. Well, Pavelski not really bigger, but slower for sure. It's going to be super helpful for those guys just to get the puck back some way, get it to the point, and then get it on net and mop up some dirty goals in front is what those two guys want to do. And that's really the goal of that line. And they really pushed that hard tonight, I feel like. It was get in, get it to the top, get it on net every single time they were in the offensive zone. And I loved it. And we score a goal because of that style. And I really thought Steele looked even just a little bit faster tonight, too. He was great. Loved that line.
Shout out to Jamie Benn, by the way. Ardell with a little bit of stats here for us. Ben is 4th in the league in face-off percentage at a stout 60%. That's crazy. That's really, really well done.
A year is insane.
And he was 10 for 1 in the face-off diet tonight, according to Ardell. So I know he's a guy that's getting paid over $9 million, and he's not the same guy he used to be even like 3 or 4 years ago. But he still is able to contribute to this team, and he's been doing really well as of late.
Playing better recently. Last two games, he really I feel like.
Yes, and I know he hasn't really been scoring that much at all, actually, for that matter. But you feel like the law of averages is going to start coming his way, it feels like.
It's coming right now, for sure.
Okay, we already talked about both the goalies. Okay, go ahead.
I got some defenseman talk right now, and I'm probably going to make some. We'll find out. I'm probably going to make some enemies with it, but
all right.
Let's continue. So Stars defenseman tonight for time on ice, pretty even overall. We got 20 minutes Hakanpää, 18 Lundqvist, 19:30 for Suter, about 20 for Lindell, 23 for Harley, and then Hanley is at 14:38.
So lower than he's been, right?
A lot lower than everybody else. Lower than he was recently, I feel like. And I just got a question. I'm just not even gonna I'm not even gonna make a statement. This is a question. Is there any reason Lundqvist does not remain as the starter for the rest of the season?
That's a really good question.
Because these past 8 games have proved to me why Hanley is the number 7, is what it's proved. And Hanley has been way less consistent than Lundqvist ever was, I feel like. And that's saying something because Lundqvist is not consistent. But I don't see any reason why Lundqvist should not start the rest of the games this year unless he just has a bad game, needs a break, something like that. There should not be a consistent back and forth between Lundqvist and Hanley at this point because I think these games where they both played has proved that Lundqvist is superior.
It really depends on what Pete DeBoer is thinking at that moment. And based off of what he's done in the time on ice, he has consistently gotten more minutes than Joel Hanley.
By a good
So,
bit. It's not like a minute or even 2 minutes. It's more than 3.
Yeah, I mean, and tonight it's by over 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, 3.5, 3.5, whatever. But maybe he gets to stay in. I really honestly don't know. But I think a part of it has to do with just who he plays with too. Because with Miro out of the lineup, they don't have 2 puck moving defensemen. If you leave Nils scratched and you go down and into your AHL and bring up like Gavin Bayreuther or Petrovic or Derek Pouliot or one of those guys. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise for Nils Lundqvist, and maybe he's able to stay and keep his roster spot. If I'm Pete DeBoer, Hanley's getting scratched, but Nils Lundqvist is still on a short leash. Now, it's not as short as it was before Miro went out with an injury, but I still think he's on a short leash. But you got to think also that with the way that they've been playing the defense, they've been playing really well. I mean, you take out the Philadelphia game, that was a really bad game just for everybody in general. Without that, the defense has actually been pretty decent. It hasn't been bad at all. And in every aspect of the game, when you look at the power play, when you look at the penalty kill, when you look at 5-on-5, when you look at all the different situations, they've been very consistent. And I think the reason is because they've been able to divide the minutes up a little bit more. So maybe when Miro comes back, Pete DeBoer makes the conscious decision to not rely on him to play 25, 24, 27 plus minutes. I don't know. What I would like to see is Nils stays in, Miro only plays 23 minutes, something like that, and they divide the minutes up a little bit more. And I know this is stupid, and I've said it again, but the whole Vegas going through the playoffs last season is one of the reasons why I'm looking at that, and I'm hoping to replicate what Vegas did in the series against the Stars, especially. And I don't know. That's just what I'm hoping for, and I think that is a recipe for success for the Stars moving forward, going through the regular season, but especially in the playoffs. Limit the minutes of your top guys so that they can be more effective and they're not as tired later in the season when you really need them to be better. Yeah. I know that's a lot of talking, but just a lot of thoughts on that one.
I agree with that. To wrap this up, back to the Nils Lundqvist thing. I mean, he's proved that he's better than Hanley. I mean, if you want to give him kind of a short leash, a shorter one than the other defenseman, sure. If he has a really bad game, maybe put Hanley in for one. But we shouldn't see an extended 3, 4, 5 game stint with Hanley back in for the rest of the year. I mean, this proves it to me. Lundqvist is the number 6. This locks it down for me. Game over. If one guy has a bad night, sure, throw in Hanley. If we need Hanley just to cycle in, just to keep him in game shape, sure, that's fine. But the consistent back and forth between Lundqvist and Hanley shouldn't happen again for the rest of the year, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it wasn't even back and forth. It was just Hanley.
Yeah.
It was just Hanley
for a while. Until he started sucking after he had played 6 games in a row.
Right. Well, now he's played 9 games in a row, or has it been 9 games without Miro? Yeah, I think it's been about 9 games without Miro now. And honestly, I thought they both played okay, both Nils and Hanley. But I agree with you. Nils should be in. Joe Mama over here. Nils shouldn't be on a short lease. Let the kid play. He needs to be able to screw up every now and then without being taken out.
That is
I
my
have,
that is
I
my
have.
view.
See, and I understand that, but this is a team that has higher aspirations. That's my only thing, and I absolutely 100% agree with it. If you weren't in the situation that the Stars are in right now, they're trying to be a Stanley Cup contender. That's what they're trying to be, even though they haven't really been consistent enough to be called a Stanley Cup contender. That's just why I think maybe Pete DeBoer is scratching him, because he's just not playing well enough like Harley is.
And we've had this argument before, so I'll just go ahead and give the other side real quick while we wrap it up. I think
Yeah.
leaving him on a longer leash makes us maybe slightly worse right now. Obviously, now that Hanley has played the way he has, I don't think that's true. But in the long run, Nils playing every single game is going to make this team better in the long run and better during the playoffs, which is more important than trying to win some regular season games. So that's kind of both of our arguments. We have settled into our camps and we are both trenched in for sure, I feel like, on that issue. So let's move on.
Well, just a slight thought for three of these guys. For Wedgwood, for Nils Lundqvist, and for Joel Hanley. All of those guys are very key parts of this team right now, especially with Miro out and with Otter out for a good chunk of time. And they're all making less than $1 million, or right at $1 million in the case of Scott Wedgwood. So just fantastic value from these three guys, and they've been really important. I would like to talk about some of the other defensemen in tonight's game.
Yeah.
Who do you want to start with?
I want to start with Hakanpää, because
okay,
the stats kind of do him dirty, and this is why I don't like plus minus. He finishes with a -2, but he has some huge plays. I mean, he stops 2 wide open net chances with some key stick lifts, key one-on-one, just solid defensive plays in clutch moments by him. And I thought he played really well. He never plays good with the puck. I'll continue to agree with that. He can't get the puck out of his own zone to save his life. But without the puck, defensively, Hakanpää played really good, which is sometimes a tough thing to say whenever he's not on the penalty kill.
I honestly thought he played really well tonight, and I will slightly disagree with you in the fact that he can't get the puck out of his own zone. Yes, he's slower. Absolutely, 100%.
He can do that.
He's not as bad as some people like to think he is, and this is another thing. I'll be a Yanni Hakanpää apologist right now. Okay, he's trying to play top 4 minutes when he probably is not as effective playing a top 4 role, right? Let's be honest. Like, ultimately, you want this guy to be like bottom 2 pairing, and maybe in a pinch be in the top 4 if you have an injury, right? That hasn't been the case for Yanni Hakanpää because of the amount of money some other guys are getting, because of the fact that a lot of money is tied up in the offense. He's being asked to play a role that might be above his head a little bit. But in my opinion, he has done absolutely fantastically in the role that he's being asked to do. And on top of that, it's not like this is Esa Lindell and Esa Lindell is getting paid $5.5 million. Do you know how much money that Yanni Hakanpää is getting paid according to the salary cap? Just take a guess. Yes, I believe that is correct. I believe he's at 1.5.
I'm so good. I'm so good, guys.
I wasn't fast enough pulling up Cap Friendly over here.
Well, anyway, I'll go ahead and start my argument then. I think he's definitely getting some valid criticism this season. I mean, he has been much more hot and cold this year, even than in years past. He's had some stinkers. His thing that he is most consistent at, and I think is what really keeps him in those top 4 minutes, is how good he is on the penalty kill. Him and Lindell on the penalty kill are the 2 best penalty killing defensemen in the league. That's it. The end. Game over. So that's really where his bread is getting buttered. If he can play more consistently 5-on-5, I think he really could be a solid number 4. But I think he's just too inconsistent on the 5-on-5 play, and he can really get blazed past him on some of the more high skilled guys. And that's partially what keeps Harley out there, partially what keeps Heiskanen out there, is because he can't keep up with these top tier first line forwards. They just blow past him.
And there's some truth to that, but I just think he is getting too much criticism. I think he's getting too much criticism for what it's worth, in my opinion. And I honestly think he's been playing a little bit better this year than last year. I don't know.
I think he's getting the right amount of criticism. Like he's getting a little bit, but not too much. It's not like, he's the worst. Everyone hates Suter more than him. I think that's valid. But hey, Hakanpää being the number 2 most hated, I think that's fair.
Okay. All right, let's move on from him, though. Let's talk about the number 1 most hated man from Stars fans on this team right now, and that was Ryan Suter. Ryan Suter was really good tonight. I thought he played really well tonight. And there was one specific play that pops into my mind is the fact that at the end of the second period, Stars are up 2-1, 30 seconds remaining, and then there's a 2-on-1 headed his direction. He's the lone guy back, and he stops a 2-on-1. That right there is exactly what you need from Ryan Suter at that particular moment, because going into the third period, you really don't want to be giving any kind of momentum to the New York Islanders with a game-tying goal right there, then and there. So that's the one particular play I thought he made. I forgot someone put earlier that he made some questionable passes, but that's not out of the norm. And the other thing that's, sorry, it's another thought before I jump off of Suter, but the forwards the last couple of weeks with Miro being out have played a lot better defensively in their own zone, helping out their defensemen. I just think that's the case there. But sorry, Chris, thoughts on those two things?
Yeah, I think that play late in the second period really highlights where Suter. It's a huge play, obviously, and it highlights where he is most effective. He's most effective when he's back in his own end. He doesn't have the puck, and he's gotta make one big play. And he did it right there. That was fantastic play, obviously. And I agree with some people saying that he's made bad passes. He does. He makes bad passes all the time. He passes off his problem. He doesn't really care where the puck goes after it leaves his stick. It's kind of what I've come to. But those plays without the puck, just that he did it so easily too. That's kind of what you're wanting from Ryan Suter. And we saw in the playoffs last year, he found another level to play at. I don't doubt we see that again. He's an old guy. I'm sure he's conserving some energy, waiting for some games that excite him a little bit more too.
Speaking of Ryan Suter, happy 39th birthday to him. So congratulations to Ryan Suter. I really wish we could have gotten the win for him tonight, but it is what it is. Thomas Harley. I didn't really see anything that frustrated me tonight, but it also nothing that kind of excited me tonight about Thomas Harley. He was just kind of there.
What excites me tonight for Thomas Harley is 5 shots on goal. Love that. I want him to shoot the puck. Him and Heiskanen shoot the puck.
Robo.
When you get a chance. Well, I'm talking more defenseman. But when they get a chance to shoot the puck, I want them to get it on net. I thought he did that well tonight. He's still. We need to remind people about this while Heiskanen is out. He is a rookie defenseman, and he is our number 1 right now. This is crazy. We have a 39-year-old Ryan Suter who signed like the largest contract in history when he signed with the Wild a billion years ago. And this rookie defenseman is playing more minutes than him consistently. So for what he's being asked to do, he is fantastic. And I'm excited to see what kind of pairings we get between him and Heiskanen when Heiskanen comes back. I'm going to go grab a charger real quick for my headphones. I can hear you, so keep talking.
Okay. All right. Well, so while Chris is doing that, I would really like to see the D pairings going forward, Chris. I would really like to see this once Miro is back. And maybe Miro is even back in the game on Tuesday against the Red Wings. But I think what would really be good is that you put Harley together with Miro. You keep Esa and Yanni together because it seems to keep going back that way anyways. And then you see that third pairing of Suter and Lundqvist play together. So that third pairing looks a little iffy for me just because you got an old slow guy with a lot of miles on him, and then a rookie guy. And I guess not a rookie guy. He played enough games last season, but a young defenseman who's still trying to find his way around with him on the third pairing. But it's still not bad, but that's what I would like to see Will we see that? I don't really know. So what do
Yeah.
you think?
I don't like Hakanpää and Lindell playing together. I still think that's an issue. And Lundqvist playing with Suter, I think that could be a lot better, especially in games that Suter's kind of showing up more in. Suter kind of just doesn't play some games, it feels like. But
Takes the night off.
yeah, I don't mind that pairing. Ideally, we find someone to pick up at the trade deadline. I mean, that's a huge move by but what is our GM's name? Someone help me, please. It is
Jim Nill.
Jim Nill. Thank you. Goodness.
Brain fart.
I was thinking Nils Lundqvist the whole time. At least I got the Nils right. But that'd be a huge pickup by Jim Nils. That'd be some more GM of the year stuff if he could find a defenseman for us that fits in our budget that could play on that second line, break up Essa and Hakanpää. But yeah, as they are, as for the defenseman we have right now, I agree. That's kind of what we should stick with.
By the way, if you haven't figured it out, we are doing a bit of an extended episode here tonight since it is Sunday night. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Stars, and then we'll get into a couple of NHL things just around the league that we probably need to discuss. Obviously, the big one with Patrick Roy, we'll discuss that in a moment. But I think the biggest thing, we've kind of talked about goaltending a little bit, Wedgwood being really good for Otter when Otter's been out or has had the flu. We've talked about the defensemen a little bit, a lot actually, especially with Nils seems to be just like something that Stars fans will die on. They will die on that argument that he needs to be in over Hanley. And then we've seen the forward lines kind of be put in a blender for an extended period of time, Chris. And
yeah, I don't know if it's a blender anymore, Ryan. I feel like we got two different lineups that we can play with now.
Yeah, and I did listen to you say that on the last episode. I have loved seeing Wyatt Johnston play up there with Rope Hansen with Jason Robertson. Just especially that first line with him up there, it just seems to make sense. Like Johnston has been, I don't want to say he's been bad because he hasn't been bad all season. He's just been quiet in portions of the season. But with him on that line, on that top line, he has helped, I think, the speed a little bit more with Hintz and Robo. Not like they needed help anyways, but there's even more speed there. And then it's also helped him individually kind of get his point totals going back up again. So yeah. Just with that top line, it's been so much fun to see the three of those guys play together.
And the exciting thing for me is it's not like it's just, we just put another guy in and they play kind of the same. It's given me a different feeling from those top guys. It's more quick. It's more in your face. I feel like it puts the other team on their heels more. That's what excites me more, is that it's producing, obviously, number one, but it's a different kind of line too. It's not the same as the line when Pavs is up there.
And then obviously the second line stays together because they have been the best forward line for us all year. Seguin, Duchesne, Marchment, that has been the best trio up front.
And a good segue, they had a rough night tonight.
They did. I agree. And Duchesne, I know some people were kind of getting on to him for his play in overtime, but that's what he does. I mean, that's nothing new that we haven't seen. And more times than not, it's been good rather than bad. It just happened to be bad tonight for him trying to hold on to the puck and take it himself to the net. So
I agree that's what he does. He still screwed it up. So we can still get on to it for that.
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that more times than not, it tends to work itself out where it's a good positive thing for the Stars offensively when he holds on to the puck.
Agreed. But Duchesne and Seguin in the night, both with the -2, but take that with a clump of salt. Y'all know how much I love that stat. The bigger one for me is they both only get one shot on goal each, which for that line, the way it's been humming, it wasn't humming as well tonight. And maybe that's a Marchment is slow from, I mean, he was sick last night. He was sick enough not to play last night. So he might still not be going as well. But just not great from them tonight, which is odd because they've been great for 2 straight months.
Well, but then you've got the whole Duchesne hit a post right off the bat at the beginning of the game kind of thing too. True. So I don't know. But then you take a look at the third line. That third line with Sam Steele. I think Sam Steele has done some things for that line that we probably should have seen coming because he's played so well for the Stars this season. He's been elevated in the lineup. but you put two older guys with a guy who's trying to prove himself, trying to keep himself in the lineup, and it's very significant and it's very interesting to watch those three guys together. It really is. Ben, Sagan, and Pass, or
Yep.
Ben, Steele, and Pass. Excuse me.
Yep, agree. And like I said earlier in the show, I love seeing Steele up there. It feels like he can just get so aggressive on the forecheck, and it really adds some more energy to what Ben and Pavelski could be on their own. Like those are some slower guys. I feel like they couldn't really get that much on the forecheck in, but Steele makes up for it with how hard he plays.
And then you got that fourth line who just continues to do really well. And even Dodonov on that fourth line, he's been effective. It hasn't been a bad player. It just that line with him and Johnston and Ben has just not been the same this season. Just like the top line with Robo and Hintz and Pavs has not kind of been the same this season. So it's interesting that you kind of mix up those guys around, and it sort of kind of seems to work itself out. They've been able to get more pressure more frequently. It's been more of a 60-minute game. It still hasn't been a minute game in most of these games, but it has been better. Instead of having a 30-minute game, we've seen like tonight was a 50-minute game, or maybe even 52-minute game. It was just that last half of the first period that was really bad. That was about it.
Yeah, and like I said last night, the thing I'm more excited about with this is that whenever we are not playing great and we want to change.
Oh, I think we lost Chris there. Hopefully he will be back, but
Just have something else to go to. We have another thing that we know works that we can. I'm back. Hello?
yeah, you just kind of disappeared there for a second, Chris. Sorry. Austin internet. Haha. It's not even my internet today.
Bro, this hasn't happened yet. Anyway, what I was saying is it like I was just repeating what I said last night, guys. So it's nice having two different lines, so we don't have to just actually just blender up the lines. We can go back to something that we know works, and anytime we need to change up, that's an easy thing to do that we have confidence in.
All right, let's talk about the Stars' remaining schedule before the All-Star break, Chris, because we got some things here that we need to discuss. It really would have been nice to get this game tonight. This really should have been a game that the Stars should have won, but they get the point tonight on the second night of a back-to-back. These next three, they have to win. It really feels like they have to win. If you are a better team, if you're one of the better teams in the NHL, you have to win these next three games. So they are finishing up the road trip in Detroit on Tuesday night against Dylan Larkin and the Wings. That starts at 6 on Tuesday. They've got a game against the Ducks on the 25th at American Airlines Center. And then they finish it up on Saturday with a matinee against the Washington Capitals, who seemed like they were going to be in the playoffs for a hot minute, and they've kind of fallen off lately. So in my opinion, there's no excuse why you lose any of these three next games. There's no back-to-back. I mean, the Wings are doing pretty well right now. They had a big win tonight against I think it was the Maple Leafs, I believe. But especially the Ducks game. Like, there is absolutely no excuse for you not to win that game.
Yeah, the bigger thing for me, that Caps game is just built like a trap game. I mean, you're at home, it's a matinee, you're playing the Capitals who aren't in the playoffs, and you're just about to go to Cabo for vacation for a week. I mean,
everybody except Otter, though.
Everybody except Otter. Otter's stuck. He's got to go to Toronto. What a horrible break for him. But anyway, that is totally a trap game. You can totally not show up to that, and our guys got to make sure that they're ready to go, because I'm sure they have flights leaving at 6 p.m. They got to find a way to not think about that until they beat the Capitals.
Oh man. Well, hopefully, like looking at those three games, Chris, do you see a reason why you lose any of those three games?
Yeah,
like
because
maybe Detroit. I could see us losing against Detroit, but the other two, absolutely not.
Detroit's a good team. They can beat us if they're playing at their best. I'm just worried about slipping that Washington game just by not showing up. And I think that's an easy thing to do on a game like that. I mean, it's just built for these guys not to play. we really want to win these games. Getting momentum going into the All-Star break is a huge thing. Looking back at the standings during the All-Star break, I also think is kind of important because that kind of during that break, you're thinking, all right, this is how we're gonna figure out how to play the rest of the season. And theoretically, we win these 3 games, we could be in the lead in the division, and that kind of changes what we're looking at. I haven't had an hour-long episode in this spot yet, so I need to go get my computer charger. 1 second.
Okay. Well, while he's doing that, I do have a couple of thoughts here tonight before we do anything else. But one of the things we kind of forgot to discuss when we were talking about the game earlier was the fact that Craig Smith did end up leaving the game with I think it was a lower body injury is what they told us, and he was questionable to return. He did not return at all in this game, so hopefully it was just precautionary, and we'll see where that goes moving forward. But we are going to get into the standings here a little bit as well. So if you haven't been paying attention to the Central Division has been doing very, very well, especially the top 3 teams in our division. Of course, you've got the Jets, who have just kind of skyrocketed the last month and a half or 2. They're up at the top of the Central Division, and at the top of the NHL, they got 64 points in 44 games. The Avs have got 63 and 47. The Stars have 60 and 46. And there's a pretty big gap between the top 3 teams in the Central and then everybody else in the Central. You got the Preds with 51, the Coyotes with 47, the Blues with 46, the Wild with 45, and then you've got the Blackhawks down there with 30. So the gap between those 3 teams and then everybody else could be seen as a positive thing for the Stars, but hopefully the Stars are not going to continue to use this cushion and watch it slip away. Like, for example, we've seen with the LA Kings. The LA Kings used to have a really decent lead between them and everybody else in the Pacific Division, and they have kind of lost it, and we'll get into why there in a moment. But Chris, I don't know if you heard anything we were talking about with the Central Division, but the Central Division, what's been your biggest surprise with any of these teams so far this year?
I mean, any answer other than the Winnipeg Jets is the wrong answer.
Agreed.
I don't know how, but just this past month has been insane for them. They don't lose. They are still 9-1-0 in their last 10 games. And it feels like it's been either 9-1-0 or 10-0-0 for a month or 2. They have been on a heater and a half. And it's not even like they started the season this way. They started the season kind of the way we thought they would. Kind of bubble.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not
great. Maybe a little bit better than most people thought, but they just went on a tear.
And that is absolutely the correct answer. And I think it's fair to say, especially at least right now, that they are the winners of the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. And especially when you look at the Kings, they're now in 4th in their division, and they're like they're 2-5-3 in their last 10. That's rough. And the Jets are 9-1 in their last 10. So that I really think that's a big thing. And this was another good comment, a really good comment over here by Joe Mama. The Avs are playing their top line nearly 30 minutes a night. Laugh out loud. They're going to flame out. Yeah, that's one thing I noticed playing against the Colorado Avalanche is that we just seem to see the Nathan McKinnon, Rantanen, and Chushkin, all those guys just play for like 25, 30 minutes a night, including Cale Makar, Devon Taves, because the rest of the team, they just don't have any depth. Yeah. Ryan Johansson has not really worked out the way they wanted him to as a second line center. I think he's been relegated to the 3rd line now. And hopefully that's a good thing that they're playing them 30 minutes a night and they're not able to keep up that intensity. Because when it comes to playoff time, for us, because right now, if the playoffs started right now, we would be playing the Avs in the first round. So that I think that would be really interesting when it comes to playoff time to see if the Avalanche can keep it up for the duration of that. I mean, thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree that for forwards especially, I feel like that can't be sustainable. But if you look at it, if anyone's gonna do that, like Nathan McKinnon's the guy, right? I mean, if anyone can play that many minutes, we've seen McKinnon talk about his crazy health conscious nature that he has, how strong he is in making sure he lets his body recover the right way. If anybody can do it, it's him. But you can't imagine that that can be good when you get to the end of the season when he gets roughed up in the playoffs.
And Joe Mama, you might as well just be our Colorado insider, Joe Mama, over here.
Yeah, there we go.
Plus they don't have a backup goaltender, and Georgiev is letting in like 4 to 6 goals a night. Yeah,
Last game, Avs beat the Flyers 7-4.
crazy.
So yeah, they're definitely outscoring their problems right now.
Okay, moving on. Because we are getting kind of late here, and we got a couple more topics. Let's just discuss the obvious thing because the Stars did play the Islanders here tonight. Were you surprised about the announcement of the Islanders firing their head coach and throwing in Patrick Roy?
Yes, more surprised by Patrick Roy being the coach because it feels like he had that 3-year stint kind of because he was an Avs legend and he went away. It's kind of like, okay, well, there goes Patrick Roy, drifts off into hockey legend. Remember that time Patrick Roy coached the Avs? We have those cool clips of him yelling at people. That was fun. But
or like Wayne Gretzky coaching the Coyotes
exactly,
a long time ago.
something exactly like that. It's like, did you know Gretzky coached the Coyotes? I thought it was going to be another one of those, but he's back. It'll for sure be interesting at the very least. Looking back at his history with NHL coaching, but he earned it. I mean, you look at what he did in the QMJHL. He has a great record. He has, I think it's the Admirals is who he coached. He had them kind of as a perennial powerhouse, the Ramparts, as they were kind of top dogs in the QMJHL. And he even leads them to the Memorial Cup this past season, beating our boy Stanky. So he earned it, I guess, but I was shocked just to see it happen. I thought he was just going to stay where he was.
I'm not surprised in the fact that the coach was fired, but I was surprised at Patrick Roy being named the head coach. But you know what? It seems to be a pretty good fit because one of the things that, and this is just based off of research I've done, I have no inside information on this, but from what I had kind of collected and gathered from Islander fans and kind of researching on X and some other social media platforms, it just looked like the team had just been devoid of passion. And if there's any guy, especially from clips we've seen from 10 years ago, that is not devoid of passion, it is Patrick Roy.
Yeah.
So
passion.
Yes, he is absolutely the guy that seems to be a perfect fit when it encounters that. Now, other than that, I don't know how much of a good fit he is for this team, but one of the things that Lou Lamoriello, their GM of the Islanders, has been known for is just stout defense, absolute stout defense. And that has not been the case for them this year at all. Like, it hasn't even been close. I think they were ranked 24th in goals against this season, and that's with Sorokin not having great, fantastic numbers, but his underlying analytics say that he's having a very good season. So I don't know. We'll see what Patrick Roy can do with the Islanders there. Any final thoughts there?
It'll be fun to watch.
Okay, let's talk about Edmonton a little bit because Edmonton is in the news, especially when it comes to hockey media a lot. So if I'm incorrect, I'm not sure if did they play tonight?
Who?
The Oilers?
I don't know.
I don't know. But either way, they went on a ridiculous winning streak. I think they're up to 12 or 13 games. They did not play tonight? Okay.
No, they did not.
But they lost. They won 9 in a row. They lost 3 in a row, and now they've won 13 in a row. So I don't know what to. I mean, I guess it's a good thing because it should be a positive thing. I never thought that they would dig themselves out of the hole that they made them. They were literally 31st in the NHL at one point this season.
Yeah.
31st in the NHL. And they dug themselves out of the hole. Skinner, their goalie, has been putting up better numbers. He's been playing well enough, which is all they need to get average goaltending for them to win. Connor McDavid has gone on a tear. Draisaitl has gone on a tear. The defense around them has been great, and they've just been able to outscore their problems. And that's what they've done. And now they've got 13 games under their belt, which they've won in a row. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense what those guys are doing and what Connor McDavid is doing, but it's fun to watch. That's for sure. I mean, it's high flying every time you watch them, and McDavid and Draisaitl are making ridiculous plays every single night. So we'll see. It's like when baseball moved to the home run era. It's like, yeah, screw the rest of this game. We just care about goals.
Well, what's even more interesting is the fact that, according to David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period on X, he reported that Corey Perry, who has been allowed by Gary Bettman to he's been reinstated into the league after whatever he did. We still don't know what he did. It just something that
he technically wasn't suspended from the league. He was just let go by the Blackhawks, but there's like a certain waiting period you have to have when a contract is terminated or something. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know.
For those asking, how are the Blackhawks just allowed to terminate a contract? The NHLPA is asking that too. So it's going to be an interesting situation for the next calendar year, not just for the rest of the season. It's going to be weird.
I haven't heard anything about the fact that they're going to fight it at all. So my guess is whatever it was within the realms of being able to terminate a contract. I haven't heard anything from the NHLPA about them stepping in and saying, oh, no, this is not okay. You can't do this. So I think whatever Corey Perry did was bad enough.
Just terminate a contract for conduct is just weird. That just seems weird to me.
Yeah. You know, this is a little off topic, but another weird thing, another former Stars player, Valeri Nichushkin, he is not playing for the Avalanche right now. He is in the Players Assistance Program. So again, whatever the heck is going on with Nichushkin, which we all remember what he did during the playoffs. He just kind of disappeared. It was so weird. Just with both of these guys, both former Stars players, just mystery just surrounds them right now. But for Corey Perry, it looks like he's going to end up signing a contract with Edmonton, and that just seems interesting to me with Corey Perry, because if you're Ken Holland, if you're the GM of the Edmonton Oilers, why would you want to do something like that when your team is on an absolute tear right now, unless you're expecting Corey Perry to be the 13th forward?
Well, he's proved that he doesn't really have a problem signing people who have a little bit of a history. I mean, he signed Evander Kane with still a whirlwind surrounding him. It wasn't like it was all resolved. He still had issues going on when the Oilers signed him, and it's worked out great. I mean, it's been a great signing for him. So, worked out once, try it again. Why not?
Mm-hmm. So, I whatever Perry dealt with, I don't think that whatever he did, I don't think that's the actual man, if that makes any sense. He always seemed to be like a good guy when he was here in Dallas. So I'm choosing to believe that. And, you know, people make mistakes, and apparently the mistake was so bad, and it was bad enough that his contract is terminated. But I really hope that moving forward, he does okay. I really do.
I'll believe they did nothing wrong until somebody shows me or tells me what he did, because right now we have no idea. It's a weird situation. I get that it's kind of a private thing, but it just doesn't really make sense in when it affects something so publicly, to have no information on it is just weird.
Okay. I got one last thing, and then we're going to kind of wrap it up here tonight, Chris. But we have got the All-Star game coming up here next week. So not this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but the following Thursday, Friday, Saturday at the beginning of February. It is going to be a draft again, so that'll be kind of interesting. The draft will be on Thursday. They'll have the skills competition on Friday, and then the game on Saturday. And I believe they're going to have 4 separate teams. And along with those teams, they have announced the 4 captains for the teams. Obviously, no surprise here, but first off is Austin Matthews. Of course, it's in Toronto. He absolutely should be a captain. He's the biggest name probably in hockey right now. McDavid, obviously in Edmonton, he's a big guy. McKinnon is also a captain. And then this was really interesting, and I'm actually kind of rooting for these guys. Both the Quinn brothers, Jack and Quinn Hughes, are co-captains for their own team. So I think that's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about that. But what's even more interesting is they also have celebrity captains along with these guys. So I guess this is just mostly for the draft and to try and make it more interesting. But Justin Bieber is a celebrity captain with Austin Matthews. Will Arnett is a celebrity captain with McDavid. Michael Bublé is with the Hughes brothers, which makes me want to root. Yes, Bublé is playing, or not playing, but he's going to be an honorary captain. And then Tate McRae is going to be a celebrity captain with Nathan McKinnon. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on just the way that the All-Star game is going to be. This announcement today, me telling you all these things, you didn't know about any of this beforehand. So what are your thoughts?
I think it's fun. I mean, no one really cares about the All-Star game, so changing it up every year just to have something new to see and talk about, I think is a good idea. I don't think there's any reason we should keep we're gonna have the same All-Star game, same thing every single year. I don't think we should do that. I think let's change it up. Let's do some weird stuff. Let's have a draft. Let's not have a draft. Let's do, I don't know. We'll have the AHL All-Stars play the NHL All-Stars. Let's do some weird stuff.
That might be kind of fun. Yeah.
So I think changing it up is a good idea. I just hope that they can actually get some personality out of these hockey players without it being too cringe. I mean, every time they try to do stuff like this, it feels like it's Dora the Explorer. Like, do you see Swiper? Yeah. Connor McDavid, do you like freaking maple syrup? I don't know. I mean, it's terrible stuff like that most of the time. So we all know hockey players don't like talking, really. I mean, every answer Miro gives is, yeah, pretty good. Jamie Benn is the expert at one-word answers, but let's try and get a little bit of life out of these guys without it being disgustingly cringy.
I think it's going to be fun. I might actually watch it this year. It's been a while since I've watched it. I'm going to give it a shot this year. I'll watch all 3 of the events. The draft will be on Thursday, the Super Skills will be on Friday, and then the All-Star game itself will be on Saturday. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it's going to be fun. I especially think the draft is going to be fun because there was one year where Alexander Ovechkin really made it interesting, and it was kind of funny.
He wanted the first year the draft had happened, I think.
Yeah, yes, and he wanted to make himself the last pick so he could win a car.
Yeah, and that was hilarious.
And the whole joke, the whole night was, "Don't pick me, don't pick me, don't pick me." And then finally, Patrick Kane picked him, and he was no, he's just being silly. Like, no, and he's like, trying to not smile or laugh as he's trying to keep a straight face and pretend to be angry as he's walking up to the podium to accept the All-Star jersey from Patrick Kane. But
that's funny and not
something
cringe.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like it was stupid funny. Like that's something like I would want to see. So
don't prop them with some dumb host that doesn't watch hockey that's just being told to make it fun, because then that gets cringy. Like, just let the players hang out, put it on video. If something good comes out of it, cool. Don't try and force anything gross.
Really quick side note, because I'm just now thinking about it. So one of the things I do with the Super Skills is the hardest shot. I don't know if you saw Owen Newkirk's tweet earlier today. Colin Miller had 102.8 slap shots against Scott Wedgwood on Friday night against when he was playing against the Stars for his Devils. So maybe you could get stuff like that. It's like, look at the stats that you have with NHL Edge, and the guys who have the fastest times, get those guys to be.
That would be better, because recently all the Super Skills stuff has sucked. It's like fallen to the stuff, the problem that basketball has happened. like the dunk contest used to be like the highlight because you had the top dogs doing the dunk contest, and now the nobodies do the dunk contest and nobody cares. Same thing for hardest shot. We used to have Zdeno Chara and Alexander Ovechkin firing clappers, and now we just have freaking nobodies out there hitting clappers that don't even break 100. Who cares?
Yeah,
Get the good guys
right.
out there.
Right. Okay. Well, I promised you we wouldn't do much longer. I'm sorry, Chris. But anything else you got before we wrap it up?
I don't. I'm excited to get to break. It would be great to finish with a 3-win streak going into break. That's what we need.
Stars are 1-1 on this trip, which is not bad considering, you go 500 on the road, and you're really good at home, you make the playoffs, which is what the Stars have been doing as of late. They've been very good at home, winning most of the games at home, and they've been about 500 on the road. So we'll see going forward if this can continue, and it would be really nice to see a 3-game winning streak going into the All-Star break. So I'm really sorry, Jake. It sucks you're the only one going for the Stars going, but it at the same time it's kind of nice because it allows everybody else to get a little bit of a rest. Yep. Right? More of our players can go and chill out for a week.
And us too. I mean, goodness.
Yeah, we've been crazy. So okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you all for those of you that are listening live. There's many of you that are listening later. We appreciate everything that y'all do for us and helping us grow. Please consider leaving a 5-star review anywhere you listen to your podcast episodes, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever it may be. Please go and check out StarcasticRemarks.com for all the latest info on us. All of our episodes are posted there literally as soon as they're available. And as always, please go and check out StarcasticRemarksShop.com for the latest merch options. It's the best way to support everything we do here. Thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, use that promo code THBN. Along with Chris, my name is Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever y'all are listening. We'll be back with you guys again on Tuesday night when the Stars take on the Detroit Red Wings. We see you guys later.